everyone, and welcome to Su23 in the summer of 2023. I hope that this video comes at a good time for you to get started with the summer semester. 8 weeks, we're going to cram a 16-week course into that. Obviously, some things will be kind of a little bit shorter, and that begins with your readings. Now, I was going to show you your book. I was very excited to show it to you, and then I realized I actually have the second edition instead of the third edition, which I actually have on my Kindle. So unfortunately, I can't show you a physical book, but the book that we're going to be using is going to be by Bizzell and Herzberg. That's Bizzell and Herzberg, Herzberg, and it's called The Rhetorical Tradition and Contemporary Applications. And we're going to actually use that text. It is available to you through Kindle. You can rent it for about $50 online, rent the online version. I believe the bookstore will be carrying it. They are supposed to. And I'm going to need you to get that as soon as possible and in whatever format that you choose to do that in, because we're going to dive right in. And in this first week, we are going to actually start reading and going into sort of the weeds of the origins of rhetoric. So here's how generally I work and what the syllabus talks about. We're going to do 2 major paper assignments in this class, and those are where the majority of your points are going to come from. I do this on a 1,000-point system. That is to say that it is not based on percentages. So however many points you earn gives you the grade that it corresponds with on the syllabus, and you can see that there. So hopefully you'll be able to know throughout the next 8 weeks how you're doing in the course. However, please keep in mind that paper 2 is worth a significant portion of your grade, and that won't come until the very end. My goal here with exams is not necessarily to test your knowledge so much as understand that you've been reading the book, you've been following along the lectures, and you're able to find the answers to the questions that I put on the exam. The majority of the work that I'm going to test from you is going to come from your papers. And so that's where we want to focus the majority of our attention, is reading for the purpose of having the knowledge to write those papers. Now, in those papers, you're going to be doing some simple demonstration of knowledge for the first paper. So this only have to be about 3 pages. Some people go up to 5. It just depends on what subject matter you decide that you want to write a paper on. The second paper is going to be an actual application paper where you're going to take a particular rhetorical criticism method and you're going to apply it to some mediated artifact, books, movies, songs, lyrics, poems, advertisements, and so on. Literally anything you want, as long as it's mediated and I'm able to access it so that I can watch it while I read your paper or before I read your paper, however I go about doing that. So if I haven't been exposed to your artifact, a lot of times I have been, especially if it's like political speeches or advertisements and campaigns. I'm usually exposed to those pretty regularly, and quite a bit of film as well. So hopefully I know what you're writing about, but sometimes you all pick things that I've not read, I haven't seen yet, and that's exciting because I get to learn something new, but also because I usually go watch the film or listen to the song. I'm a big fan of learning about different kinds of music, so don't shy away from those kinds of things. But I'm also always curious about political campaigns and about marketing advertising, believe it or not. That's sort of in my wheelhouse just a little bit. So whether you are majoring in PR or communication studies with a focus in org-com, with a focus in polycom, with a focus in interpersonal, whatever it is that you choose to study, I guarantee you we will find something of some interest to you for this course. And that's important. The reason why that's important is because the book is incredibly boring. It is my answer to insomnia, to sit and read Plato and Aristotle and all the way up through Kenneth Burke and others that we'll be reading this summer. I have cut back the reading list quite a bit, but I do want to talk to you about how I've made that reading list for you and the schedule that I've put us on. So essentially, I look at each week as a time for you to read whatever it is that I've listed for you to read. Okay, so sometimes that's 4 or 5 different pieces, but you are reading small edited excerpts from various different authors across time. We will do this in chronological order. So I've broken it down into sections for you, as you'll be able to see on the syllabus. And I list exactly which parts I want you to read. I will put an author, and then I will put which work I want you to read, because there's maybe 2 or 3 works by each author, and I only want you to read one of them. Or maybe there's 2 and I want you to read both. It's just going to depend on which piece we're talking about. In the beginning, you'll notice that we read an excerpt from Aristotle, but we read all of Isocrates. Trust me, you don't want to read everything Aristotle ever wrote. We wouldn't even be able to do that in an entire year, let alone in a summer session. So we're just going to read certain edited excerpts from him. Your book is not a resource text for external sources of information for writing your papers. Your text is there to give you an organized presentation of edited excerpts from various different writers of rhetoric across the last 2,400 years or so, roughly. I'm taking a guess there as to how many years we actually cover. We go back to about 500 BCE, before the Common Era. And in the Common Era, we will come all the way up into the late 1990s and early 2000s. But we're really behind in rhetoric. It's a slow process, and you'll learn that as we go. So if you look at your syllabus, you'll see that week by week, there is a series of readings I want you to have completed by the end of that week. That will keep you on a schedule that, number one, corresponds with the video lectures that I give to you. And secondarily, it will keep you on schedule so that when exam time comes and papers are due, you will have been able to have read everything that you need to read in order to do those assignments. We will have some small assignments along the way, nothing that will make or break you. However, I do ask that since I give you a week for all discussion boards, or a week for you to take your exam, that you please utilize that time in the best way that suits you. I understand it's summertime. I am going to be spending a portion of my life on the beach this summer. I imagine that some of you might have big plans, or you've got a lot of work to do, or you're working a lot. So taking that into account, I make tests and exams and quizzes available for an entire week. That means that anytime during that week, you can take that exam or that quiz. Now, most of the exams and quizzes don't take anywhere near even an hour. They are generally written so that you can take them in a relatively short period of time. But it's open book, it's open note, it's open lecture, it's whatever open you want. I would not advise that you Google the questions. You want to make the questions relevant to the videos that I provide for you and the readings that we're actually doing. So hopefully that makes sense to you, and hopefully that'll give you enough time to do all of the assignments. Your papers, obviously, you'll have a lot more time than a week. However, this is only an 8-week course. So I give you everything up front, but I'm going to encourage you to do that first paper, but not start on the second paper until we have that full assignment available to you so that you understand what you're doing. There is some learning that has to occur, so everything's not going to come up for you at once, but hopefully you have enough to get started in this first week. I am going to provide you with a couple of videos. Some of these videos were recorded a few years ago, some of them were recorded last summer, some of them were recorded this spring. It just depends on what the subject matter is and whether I wanted to sort of refresh or update the lecture. However, what I'm going to encourage you to do is that if there are any dates or references to dates in these videos, I don't think that there is, but if there are, just ignore those dates. What I want you to get to is the content of the video. That is what's going to be the most important thing for you. Whether you like to watch a lecture first and then go into your reading, or do the reading first and then go into the lecture, or start to read and go, oh my gosh, I don't understand a word that this guy is saying, then you go back to the lecture and hopefully that clears it up. The aim of the lectures is to highlight for you what things you should be getting out of the reading. And so hopefully you're able to associate what I say with what's in the reading. And that's how it's going to work. So this first week, hello, welcome. I am really bad at email, just in case you don't know that. It's easier if you text or call me. I give you my home phone number, and that is for your use whenever you want. If you text me at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm sleeping, which may be the case, I will not hear my phone. I turn it off when I am busy or when I sleep, so don't worry about bothering me. Usually I get back to you within a couple hours of if you text me. Email might take 24 to 48 hours. So if it's a question that you want answered quickly, I encourage you to text. But you can email me as well. I am not generally in my office in the summertime, so the best way to reach me again is calling or texting. And if you want to set up a Zoom appointment, we can do that. And if you want to set up a phone call appointment, we can do that as well. I hope you all are looking forward to a fun summer. I hope we can, not completely ruin your summer with this course. Hopefully it'll be a little bit of fun for you as you learn about the core of where communication started 2,400 years ago. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you guys your introduction to the course, and you can start reading anytime. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, etc., please feel free to contact me. I've also put up a discussion board that's called Dear Professor, and in that you can put up any questions you might have or concerns or things that you need clarified. Certainly feel free to do that. If you feel that you need a lecture on something specifically or you need a question answered, feel free to put it up there, and I will do my best to make sure that I get that done for you one way or another. Okay, everybody. Happy Monday, I think, but definitely happy start to the summer.